Hello guys, welcome back to another video. So today, I'm going to talk to you guys about gaining muscle and how a lot of it really is just putting the foundations in place. And if you're early on in your fitness journey, I would advise not to worry too much about gains, but just focus on getting the foundation right. Because I think the actual process of muscle gain doesn't take a very long period of time, but the real challenge is to having a sort of sustainable foundation to build that off. So people might be thinking, no, what you're on about, this is wrong. So let me try and explain what I mean by this. So I was watching a video recently of this guy called Joe Frazier, who's like a sort of, I guess, bodybuilder, YouTuber kind of guy, and he's got a very good physique, but he was doing a video about how his chest was disproportionately smaller to the rest of his body, and so he was saying he was going to spend like 3 months building up his chest, or might have been less than that, but something like that. He was going to spend a period of time improving his chest, and so like he jigged around his training program a bit, and he put like an extra chest day or something similar, some similar kind of protocol to increase his chest sort of size, and got a bunch of other things like cable flies and incline dumbbell press, that kind of stuff, and this was all to sort of improve his chest, and by the end of the 3 months, or however long it was a very short period of time anyway, for either matter. And it was just such a remarkable difference in how much progress he'd made. Like, he'd gone from having, like, he still had a sort of chest before, but like, it was like really noticeable that he had made massive gains in that area. And that's remarkable, because I just think he hadn't done anything that crazy, he'd done a bit more chest exercises in his routine. But I just think for the average guy, it takes kind of takes a few years, like maybe a year, maybe more than that, to go from that kind of difference in size. I'll link the video below because it was really good. But what I realised was that the reason he'd been able to see such great increase in hypertrophy in such a short space of time is because he just got everything else in lockdown. He got locked down everything else. His diet, he knew exactly what to train. His sleep was dialed in, all these other stuff. Probably not drinking absurd amounts of alcohol that would kill his gains and stuff like that. So that really it didn't take any time at all to grow muscle. And I thought that was really interesting. I think what that means, the way I interpreted that, is the real progress in bodybuilding really is getting the basics in place, like actually working out what to eat, like what exercises you're going to work, like how to do all the right exercises, obviously getting the discipline down, getting your sleep down, all this stuff that sort of optimizes muscle growth, right? You might sort of slide over that and say, oh, that's not important, but that can take several years to really hone in on and get that on, locked down, and once you do, then you're just going to make massive improvements in a very short space of time. So I think if you're starting out as a beginner and you're not necessarily seeing massive gains like as much as you want to, I think that's something worth remembering, that a lot of it is just setting the groundwork and the foundations, and that's the really important thing. That's the thing that no one sees, because it's all behind the scenes. But it's much more important, I think, in terms of progress. And then you'll make massive progress in a very short amount of time when you've really got everything else sorted. So anyway, to get back to the point of this video, I think this could also be applied to lots of other things, like starting a business. For a lot of people, it's years potentially of just grafting, setting things up, failing businesses, running out of money, and then suddenly they just hit on something massive, and they get enormously successful. Same with music. Musicians spend years producing. I mean, Pink Floyd is a perfect example. I guess they had a good first album, but once Syd Barrett left the band, like they just had a series of, in my opinion, shocking albums. Like they're really, I mean, they're all right, but they're not fantastic at all. Just years of doing these fairly subpar albums, years and years and years, and then suddenly they come up with Dark Side of the Moon. And once they do Dark Side of the Moon, it's like Wish You Were Here, Animals, The Wall, all these massive albums just out with each other. And they're able to be that successful all of a sudden because they've had those years of just doing not very good albums to just build that up, build the framework. And then after that, it's just easy, It's like, oh, I want to do, they can just bring out a fantastic album every year or every couple of years, really. They probably produce more if they hadn't done so many. They hadn't invested so much time into their gigs, which was such a big part of their sort of remarkable part of their work in their own right. And they hadn't broken up so soon. They probably could have done loads more albums just as good. Who knows? Same with, and then to bring it back to Joe Fraser, like, it's a perfect example. He's just got a framework, so he's like, okay, what muscle group do I want to really see massive gains in a short period of time? Okay, chest, done. It's a perfect illustration of that. And once you get those frameworks in, it's not very rewarding in the first half because it's so long. But once you've got that in place, it's like, it's a wildfire. I mean, exact same thing is true for languages. The first language you learn is just incredibly slow progress. It probably takes you several years. Unless you're living in the country, it's probably going to take you several years to learn it. And you're going to still need to spend time practicing it in some sense with other people who speak the language. Go to the country. All this kind of stuff. It's going to take you ages. But if you do, you meet these polyglots on YouTube who have just, they can learn like really hard languages in, a few months. They're already speaking it, and it's amazing. Like that guy Shalma. I mean, I think some of his videos are a bit much. Like, it's like, but it's fair play. Like he does those videos where he will just learn like Igbo or Kosa or something, and he'll just find somewhere where people speak it and go over there, and it's very impressive. Can't speak it very well, sure, but like the amount of time he's spent learning that is pretty amazing, and that's illustrates it really well. Like once you get the framework, you can just do whatever the fuck you like. Like you want to learn Japanese in 3 weeks, great, go for it. I think it's true for everything, and the more I think about it, the more I see it. So the downside to this is you have to go through a massive period of laying the foundation, which no one really wants to do, before you can see the results of your labours. And a lot of that isn't very fun at all. Learning that first language is very boring. Going to the gym and not seeing gains it's not very rewarding at all. But partly, you still need to let yourself be motivated by the end result. But a good thing to just sustain you through that is thinking, well, of course I'm not seeing results at the moment because I'm just laying the foundations. And then once you get to the point, maybe it's 6 months, maybe it's a year, maybe it's a few years. But once you get to that point where you've really got the foundation like locked down, you'll just make insane progress almost overnight. And obviously you still be making progress along the way. but you'll get to a point where it also comes together, and everything gets paid off. Like there's that graph, isn't there, of the effort put into stuff getting out. There's a sort of curve where you're getting nothing, and you actually get loads back. And that's effectively what I'm describing here. So, yeah, hope you guys found this interesting, and I'll see you guys soon.